Welcome to Beyond the Bio with Terra the Connector, a podcast about people behind the success stories. I'm Terra Chody, entrepreneur, host, and passionate connector, and I believe that behind every achievement, there's a journey filled with lessons, courage, and connection. This show isn't about filters, highlights, or titles. It's about the real stuff, the risk, the growth, and the relationships that shape who we become. Because success isn't just what you do, it's who you are beyond the bio. Welcome to another episode of Beyond the Bio with Terra the Connector. And I have a very special guest with us today. Someone very close to me personally and has been a big inspiration in my life. I will give her a formal intro in 1 minute because I do want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor of this episode, Summit Financial Consulting out of Sterling Heights. So you'll hear more about them later. All right, Tonya.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome on this episode.
Thank you for having me. I'm delighted to be here.
Now, I did write some notes because I don't want to mess up my intro for my sister. Yes, this is my sister.
But who would forgive you more than me?
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. I've had many people recently say, who is this fun girl that you're doing all these TikToks with? And I said, that's my sister. So, yes, everyone, I have my sister, Tonya White, and she is someone incredibly special to me. She's not just a Powerhouse CEO. She's been a role model of mine since I was very young. I grew up watching her hustle from a young age. She was always working, always pushing forward, but somehow still managed to be the fun one, the one who motivated me, inspired me, and showed me what was possible. And long before I understood business, I understood work ethic because of her. So she's been my role model my entire life, and honestly, so much of who I am today is because of watching her.
Aww.
And she works hard and hustles. You know, a lot of people tell me I hustle. Well, this is who I learned it from. I've watched her, like I said, my whole life, from working out, watching you work out, to running businesses and being an amazing mom. So I'm excited to have you here. And she is the CEO of TAG, which stands for Talent Advantage Group, and it's a boutique staffing agency. And welcome again.
Thank you, Terra. Thank you for all the nice things you've said. Thank you.
Of course. So let's talk about we're here behind the bio, and you own TAG.
Yes,
which
I do.
Is a recruiting company.
Yep.
Female-owned recruiting company. So tell everyone a little bit more about TAG and what you offer, how long you've been in business.
Yeah.
Let's first start there.
So TAG is a certified woman-owned staffing company. I keep my certification up every year. And I opened up TAG in 2013 with my late husband, Mark. And I got in this industry, kind of fell into this industry right out of college. I had no idea what a recruiter was or what it meant. I was waiting tables at Philippa's Wine Barrel, M59 a Mound, and one of my clients was like, you really need to meet my staffing firm. You could do a whole bunch of things. And I'm like, okay, and kind of fell into the industry, and here I am. But I opened up TAG in 2013, made it through some tough times. I place a lot of IT professionals, IT, engineering, accounting and finance, and a lot of like data, business analytics, and salespeople. So those are kind of my bread and butter.
And what would you say, why do people need a recruiter?
Well, first of all, the hiring process can be really crazy, right? Candidates can be crazy, right? They're people, they're not widgets, and the hiring process can get complex. So what I do is, when I work with a client to get a particular need that they have, I dig really deep to find out, what they really are looking for, what their culture's like, what kind of person would do well with them. And then I dig deep. My team and I, we we have all kinds of methods where we go find people. And I purposely stay small. I've been larger in the past, but I purposely stay boutique because there's a lot of recruiting firms out there that, they'll hire tons of kids right out of college and, they don't really have a lot of good business acumen and they're just kind of matching up keywords and they really don't know how to vet talent. But I stay small because I literally touch every single candidate, that goes out the door. We meet everyone on video, deep dive behaviorals, just to make sure that they're the right fit for my client. So, yeah.
And one thing for anyone that's met Tonya or worked with Tonya, whether it's a candidate or a client, one thing I learned from you is by the way, this is where I learned to build relationships, was you. You are the best at building relationships, but she truly cares for everyone she meets with. And I'm not talking about like she's just looking to get a hire. That's not at all what she's about. She's looking at what's in the best interest of the client, of her candidate, and her friends and family. She's always looking out for other people.
Thanks,
Sometimes
Terra.
you put yourself last, but I will tell you, you are awesome at taking care of yourself first. One thing that Tanya's really great at is routine. So
To a fault. Sometimes.
When I was like 10, I would watch her like doing aerobics, Jane Fonda,
Yep.
and the
Joni Greggins.
Yeah, and
Yep.
I'm like, oh my gosh, what is she doing? No wonder why she looks so great. So even to this day, you have such a great routine. I would love for people to hear a little bit about your routine.
Yeah. So my older brother Todd, 2 years older, Todd and I, we're brother, sister, and then like 8 and 9 years later, my parents decided to have 2 more kids, and then Terra and Tracy. So a lot of Terra's youth when she was really small. I mean, I was already in high school and college, so we have this like big age gap between us, but something brought us together. Years later, like we are inseparable, but and it's probably because our kids, our boys are the same age, but nonetheless, getting back to my routine. Yes, I've always been a very regimented person. So I get up every morning, I get my kids off to school, and then I work out. I always work out before work. I start a little bit later and I work a little bit later, but I work out. It gives me my mojo, my energy for the day. I don't know what I would do without that workout. I think I would just be anxious all day. It kind of just gets me going,
Yeah.
The music, the adrenaline, and then my workday just flies by because I'm like all pumped up, and so I'm also kind of routine with my food. I like to eat clean when when at all possible. It just gives me my energy. But my mojo, you were a lot younger than me, but my mojo, I believe, came from our parents. I really do. I feel like, just to give you an example, Todd and I, our brother, we had a paper route when I was 9 years old. Can you imagine having your kids having a paper route at 9? So him and I, we had a paper route. I was 9 years old. He was 11. And, we got up every weekend. My dad would take us, drive us. We had this apartment complex, and we had, like, the entire apartment complex.
Yeah.
And then we saved our money, and then we got mopeds. So we would, like, cram all these newspapers on the moped platform and ride our mopeds up to the apartment complex, and we would just, And then I started waiting tables at 14, and I was supposed to be 16. And I said, yeah, I'm 16. And then I started crying, and they're like, oh, you can stay anyway. So I was 14, and so I started waiting tables, and I did that all throughout, high school and college. And in the summers, I'd have 2 waiting table jobs. Just always worked. And I think that, our parents instilling that work ethic in us is what makes us successful.
Well, I mean, let's be real. Honestly, nowadays, parents buy their kids everything.
100%.
And, I mean, I've been guilty of maybe spoiling my kids a little bit. And back then, You wanted a car? You go work and you save and you go get it.
Yep.
You know, some of that is missing nowadays. And that was a big part. And I started working at 13 as well, because if I wanted, you know, our parents gave us X amount to spend on school clothes. If you wanted other things, you needed to work and go buy it.
Yep.
So I think that is something I need to instill in my children a little bit more. I mean, by the way, I will say your daughter is a hustler.
She's a hustler.
She's
Madison
a hustler.
Hustles. She does.
Yeah, she does nails. She has her own nail company. And what's her Instagram?
It's Madison Nails 123 or something like that. But yeah, so she started.
I wonder who she learned that from.
I don't know.
Let's be serious.
I don't know. When she was 11, she would ride her bike around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And put flyers in people's mailboxes, like Mother's
babysit?
Helper. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So she's always babysat. Yeah. She's a hustler. She is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's when you have a role model like yourself, I mean, it's obvious to see why she's like that. And, you know, even Aiden wanting to, you know, your son wanting to work with you, and he sees your drive. His drive that he's learned from you, I think directly goes into his football, because he is so dedicated and passionate.
He is.
About football and school.
Yeah, yeah. He's
So
a
one
really
thing
good
people
student.
might not know is Tonya was actually the valedictorian.
I'm paying her a lot of money to say all these things.
I'm sorry, but I think that's amazing, because that is a lot of dedication and hard work to be the valedictorian of your class.
Yeah.
You spoke in front of your whole graduating class, right?
That was one of the hardest things I ever did. It was at the Pontiac Silverdome. It was in Pontiac at the time. And I remember my knees were quaking, you know, like this big stage. Yeah, that was very difficult to give that speech. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, so let's go back to, obviously, you're an amazing recruiter, business owner, mother. I do want to mention, you know, you were working for a recruiting company for a long time, and you were, if I remember this correctly, you were number one in your company, the top recruiter in a pretty big recruiting company, and you left it all.
I did. I was, it was a $2 billion staffing firm, and I was the number one sales executive. And I had 300 contractors working for me. I wanted to be a mom. That's the only thing I ever wanted to be, was a mom. You know?
Yeah.
And everyone thought I was crazy. Like, after I left, I went on maternity to have Madison, and I was like, bye. And everyone's like, you're crazy, you're leaving. You know, I'm like, yeah, you can always make more money, you know?
Yeah.
I wanted to stay home with my kids, so I did. I had Madison. 2 years later, I had Aiden, and then I stayed home for a few years, and it was the best time of my life. Now, granted, they probably don't remember any of it because they were so little, but it shaped them, right?
Yeah, definitely. It shapes who they are, for sure.
For sure, and you know, because you did the same thing.
Yeah, I stayed home with my kids for 8 years as well, but that was a huge sacrifice. But that kind of shows you a little bit about Tonya and her willing to, you know, money's not everything.
It's not.
And it just goes to you, how you take care of your people who are in your circle. So, now you went to school at Wayne State, right?
I did.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I believe a scholarship. Is it?
Yeah, I did.
Listen, I'm going to brag about my sister,
Can I brag
guys.
about you too?
I want to brag about my sister because, you know, she is not someone that will brag about herself. So I want to share a little bit more about you. But you have a degree in
marketing,
Okay.
advertising.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I
that-
did. I had a scholarship, educational scholarship, which was great because I had no student loan and went to. I didn't go away to school, which sometimes I regret, but I made the right call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that our parents helped, you know, push you and really motivate you in your work. You're a great mom and a friend. So is that from your parents as well, or who else has shaped who you are?
I think as an older adult, you know, again, our age span is kind of vast, but as an adult, you are a huge inspiration in my life, and I'm not just
my
turning on like
gosh.
you are. You are a best friend. The cool thing about you and I, right? We got to raise our kids together. We had our kids at the same time.
Pregnant
our
at the
kids
same
are tight,
time.
right? So we went through a lot of major life changes together, and I think as an adult, that is just, we're inseparable that way, right?
Yeah.
And we're family, which is cool.
For sure.
Right? So
For
we'll
sure.
always have that bond.
Yeah.
So yeah, when
Aw,
I
thank
need
you.
to talk about something, I call Terra.
Aw, I appreciate
Yeah.
that.
You're a great friend and a great mom and obviously a great business owner as well. So
It's kind of crazy because our parents were not entrepreneurs. Our dad worked at a company for 30 years. Our mom was a stay-at-home mom until I was in middle school. And our brother ran a business.
Yeah.
You ran a business. I did. Like, it's kind of crazy how that happened.
yeah.
You know?
Right.
But so back to tag. So what is your ideal client when if someone is looking to hire? Obviously, some places have HR hiring managers on staff, but what kind of companies are you looking to partner with that you think are a big benefit for them to work with you?
Yeah. So I typically do really well with smaller and mid-sized companies that are, Fortune 500. A lot of those companies have really, really staffed up talent acquisition teams, so they don't typically need to use companies like myself. I'm industry agnostic, so I'll work across any industry. And I'm not just in Michigan. I have clients in, Texas and North Carolina and, so I pretty much can work anywhere in the United States. That small to medium sized company that typically has, an HR manager or director of HR that's facilitating most of the hiring process that, they need an extra recruiting arm, or even companies that have some talent acquisition partners, but they just, they need external help to find those really niche-y pink squirrel types of positions.
Okay. And for people that are looking for jobs out there, I mean, there's lots of ways, there's Indeed and online jobs and all these different recruiting or, job posts, but you get access to jobs that are not on there. Am I right?
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's all about relationships. Some of my clients I've known them for, over 15 years,
Yeah.
And they might not be my biggest clients, but when they need something, they're going to call me, Yeah. So.
And with you doing this for over 20 years, you have these relationships with candidates.
Yeah, candidates. I've actually placed some of my candidates like multiple times. I would never poach from a client, but maybe
Correct.
I placed them and then they move somewhere else and they call me again and I place them again. Yeah, it's all about relationships.
Right.
Yeah.
So are you looking to add anyone to your team, grow your team, or add on any new clients right now? Like, what is 2026
I'm always
looking for?
looking for new clients. I'm always looking for new clients. The last couple of years have been a little rocky in the staffing world. A lot of people are, you've probably heard on the news, right? Like a lot of tech jobs have been eliminated over the last couple of years. So it's been a little tumultuous. But I'm going to be adding a recruiter this year for sure. But I'm always looking for clients. So if you know anyone, quite frankly, if you need a rancher in Colorado, I'll find you a rancher. I mean, seriously. Like I even though my roots are technology, IT and engineering, right, accounting and finance, sales, marketing and analytics. I've actually placed a bioscientist last year, right?
Wow,
So
yeah.
you know what I mean. So HR people, you name it. There's really nothing I can't find. It's a matter of me doing my research and diving in deep with the client to find out what they really want.
And it's also great for someone that is actively looking to work with a recruiter because they negotiate on your behalf.
We do. Well, and I tell candidates this all the time. People who are struggling to find work right now, it makes sense to find yourself a couple good recruiters because we all have our own pockets of relationships.
That's true.
You know what I mean? So when people are just applying to jobs, their resumes most of the time is just going into a big black hole, right? It's just these companies have thousands of applicants, and when you're working with a recruiter, that recruiter is working specifically on a job for a client, and you know that your resume is going to be presented to that hiring manager, right?
Right.
As opposed to just applying to random positions. You'll have a lot more success if you find a couple really good recruiters to work with.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how can if a business wants to chat with you about potentially hiring you as their recruiter, or a candidate, someone that's looking for a job wants to reach out to you, what is the best way for people to get in touch with you?
Well, first of all, I'd like to tell everyone that I've been working on this huge social media campaign. It's the Tag It. The Tag It is my URL on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. So follow me. I have some really funny reels out there and videos on kind of trying to make the staffing world like liven it up a little bit and kind of make light to some of the interesting stories that we see. So follow me there, and email me, DM me on one of my socials, or call me. And if you go on to one of my socials, after every reel, you'll see my phone number and my email.
Okay.
I'm also on LinkedIn, and I publish my contact information on my LinkedIn profile as well.
And I will say one thing about your social media, now that you just brought it up, is you do have some really great some TikToks and Instagram and Facebook posts. And she started working with the company we work with, Real Leverage Solutions, Megan and Lori. And one of the biggest things with social media, you were not at too much before, and now. And yes, you're having fun with it, but now people are like, oh, you do recruiting?
Yeah.
And you've been a recruiter for over 20 years. So it's just, this is another example of building your brand and your name so that you're top of mind.
Right.
Because then when someone does need a recruiter or is looking for a job, they know who to call because you're the expert in that field.
I'm also a realtor on the side, but I don't publish that too much. Yeah.
Well, and by the way, that works perfect because you recruit people all over the U.S.
I do.
So if someone is going to move to Michigan, who else better than you to help them?
Yeah, it works sometimes,
Yeah, it works.
Yeah,
so
actually,
it makes sense.
A guy I hired twice. I placed him twice. A couple of years ago, I sold him and his wife. I sold their house, and then I put them in their new one. So it just
I love that.
Works,
yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
So keep that in mind as well for those people listening in.
Yeah.
That if you are looking to sell or buy a home, Tonya can help you with that, and she'll do what's in your best interest.
Of course, I will.
So, any final comments before we wrap up here?
No, I'm just really proud of you, Terra. You are just like the cool thing about Terra and her branding is she's like everywhere. Like every day I wake up when I'm going through my Instagram feeds, when I'm working out or whatever, or planning for the day, it's like Real Producers is everywhere. And you've done an amazing job building your brand.
Thank you.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
I'm so proud of you. Yeah.
Well, thank you for being on this episode of Beyond the Bio.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And this episode, again, is sponsored by Summit Financial Consulting. And I'd like to thank Summit Financial Consulting for sponsoring this episode. They're based out of Sterling Heights. What I love about Summit is they're independent, family-owned, and a fiduciary, which means they're legally required to act in your best interest. So there's no corporate pressure, no product pushing, just real comprehensive planning. They help families with retirement planning, investment strategy, tax planning, insurance protection, estate planning, and even Social Security strategies, all working together in one coordinated plan. And they believe that level of financial clarity shouldn't be just for the wealthy. It should be accessible for every family. So if you're ready to get your financial world aligned, reach out to Summit Financial at 586-226-2100 or check them out at Summit summitfc.net, and tell them Terra sent you. Thank you so much for spending this time with us on Beyond the Bio. If today's conversation resonated with you, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss future episodes. You can watch the full episode on YouTube or listen wherever you get your podcasts, including Spotify and Apple Music. And if you want more behind-the-scenes content, clips, and updates, be sure to follow us on social media. You can also learn more, connect with me, and explore everything we're building at terratheconnector.com. Thanks again for being here. And remember, success isn't just what you do, it's who you are beyond the bio.